So first of all, I'm going to start with a roll call. Sandra Berry.
Dave Sacramone.
Brian Matheson.
Jason Gerton.
Eric.
Eric Imbor.
Okay. So we have all met via Zoom, and I am going to look. I don't see right now where there's anyone from the public attending the meeting. So we will just move forward. It's my understanding minutes were not written up from our last meeting, which was just 2 weeks ago. So it's been a short time. So we will move forward into the playground design that we've been working on. So first of all, I want to let you know that Joe from Play will be joining us later on to just introduce himself. He's another vendor that we are working with. So basically, we have been working with 3 vendors, and tonight we will make a final decision on who we would like to work with. I can tell you that just recently I did send out to everyone a quote from Play for the cost, updated costs of what it would be to do the design for the playground as we see it. Did everyone get the printout of the current one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Affirmative.
Any thoughts or concerns about the way it looks, or do we, I mean, this is the design he actually had originally provided us back a year ago. And I know we have had a few changes with wanting to move the fence, I'm sorry, not the fence, but the opening to the side of the playground. Instead of, there is going to remain an opening in the front that's big enough for trucks to get in, but the ADA compliant entrance we had talked about before should really be together where the basketball entrance is, because the ADA handicap accessible entrance would be right beside the side entrance of the fence. Is everyone following me with that?
Yep.
So when he had come and looked at the playground a year ago in March, we had not talked about moving that entrance. So his original design had the rubberized surface coming from that front double entrance where the trucks come in now, or, you know, when they have to bring in the pea stone and all of that, that's where the trucks come in. We'll still, like I said, have a double entrance in the front, but we are moving the handicap entrance to the side. So he was able to change the design the best he could to accommodate that new entrance. Now, obviously, that's not going to be exact because we don't know where we exactly are going to have it, like how many feet up or what have you. But if you look at his design where he has looped it on the black and white design, he's close. It's pretty close to where it would be, but it's definitely on that side. That is going to require more rubberized material. And he did give us an estimated cost for the additional material that would take.
Did you send us that, Sandra?
Excuse me?
The rubberized material quote, did you send that to us?
The additional amount?
I don't see any of the rubberized material on the quotes you sent.
So it's not on the current quote that he gave us. That's just for installation and equipment and shipping. But yeah, on one that I sent last month, when we discussed this last month, yep, no, that's fine. The rubber poured in place path was 1,300 square feet with an estimated cost of $18,000. With the additional rubber that he's estimating we're going to need, it's going to be closer to 1,600 square feet with an additional cost of about $4,500.
So 17.5.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, we I did send him a list of questions and he did answer them, if I can find them. I think I sent them along to you.
You did.
Okay, does anyone have them? I'm gonna see if I can find them. But I asked if he could move the swing set and he said, that's fine. I asked him the question of, do we have to do a rubberized path? Did everyone see the answer to that?
Yep. Yeah, and that made sense, and it doesn't surprise me.
Well, it doesn't surprise me either. I would rather be proactive and put a rubberized path
Yep.
in than to try to save money now. Because if we don't use up all the CPA money, not that we have to use it all, but we have to turn it back to them. And
Right.
so then if someone comes back and says, oh, you don't have a rubberized path, this isn't ADA compliant, then we're gonna have to go through the whole process of coming up with the money to put a path in.
Right. I think we do it now. The project's happening now. We get it done and get it done right the first time.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not easy to bring a wheelchair across, mulch. I mean, it just makes
Right.
so much more sense to do it the right way.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
Totally.
Okay,
Yep, I agree with that as well.
so yeah, so we will talk to him about doing the rubberized path, and I think that's the way that, like you guys, I think that's the way we should do it too. What were some of the other questions I had asked? Oh, so the other question I had asked him, so what we should do is when he does join us, we should probably maybe have some questions, if we have questions for him. But the other question I had was, what was the time frame? And he said that, so I said to him, do you have any idea of a time frame if we finalize everything by April 1st? And he said right now they're shipping in 18 to 20 business days. So it takes about a month from the time we place the order to the time it would be available to ship. But again, my question is going to be, where is it coming from? How long do you see it taking, especially with today's mailing? Although maybe UPS is quicker than the
Well,
US Post.
it probably comes on a freight truck.
Oh, you're probably right. So they would
Yeah, I
deliver.
would think
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and the UPS has been, out of all the shipping services, that they seem like they've been the most reliable. So hopefully it's UPS.
Yeah. Although Dave says it's probably going to come on a freight truck, not like UPS. You're saying like their own truck?
No, I'm saying this is
Oh,
going to
okay.
come on like a 40-foot trailer. I mean, you're talking tons of steel and plastic and wood for the playground. I'm imagining it's going to come on an LTL trailer. But I think you're right. Where is it coming from? How long would it take him to get here from there? And then to your point, where does it end up? Does it get delivered to him? Does it get delivered to us? If it gets delivered to us, we're going to have to clean out the barn to make room for it.
Yeah, and I mean, we may want to think about what's going on whatever weekend or week that they're putting this up, because there may not be much parking
Oh, right.
while we're doing this, if there's that much equipment.
Yes, and actually what we would probably want to do is eliminate activities that are going on at that time.
Right.
But I can tell you, I don't think there's going to be any baseball going on, because I know baseball is reconfiguring their fields this summer. They're in the midst of getting their application out and all that. So, and I haven't received a single request for field use yet for spring soccer or anything. But either way, you're right. We're going to have to, limit it. Okay, so how long does it take to get delivered, and where does it get delivered? Because we have to make sure that we have our playground, DPW has
Well, right.
has done their end.
Right. Did we get a committal on that they'll actually do it?
No, the only thing, well, I mean, we did talk to them. They said that they would remove it, the equipment, and remove the P stone, but I just feel that we need to stay on top of the Board of Selectmen to make sure they do it,
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Should we be trying to figure out a time that we need it done by?
Yes.
Or are we
So-
too far away at this point?
Well, so when I mean, we're only going to be able to do so much with that. So when we were speaking to the Board of Selectmen, I know Dan asked me if I had a time frame, and I said I threw out May 1st. Like, can we have it done May 1st, or by the very beginning of May? And I think that's a good time frame. And if we have to shut down the playground for a couple weeks, and so be it. I mean, we might not have a choice.
Right.
Unless we're told, oh, we can deliver it to you and it can sit there until DPW gets the playground ready. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I guess one of the other questions that I do have is, should we consult an engineer? And actually, there is one in town that we've used before for the basketball court as well. I know he kind of does, he kind of provides a free service to the town, but we could also just reach out to him and see if we can pay him a consulting fee if that's what he's looking for, to decide if we do need to do site work for drainage or anything like that on the playground. Or do we not have to do that? Because I think last time we mentioned we're replacing equipment. We're not developing all brand new land.
Right.
So is it worth getting someone to get thoughts on that? Do we do that after DPW has removed all the pea stone? I'm not sure. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, does water typically pool there? I don't really remember seeing it, and I think it's pretty well drained from my
I
recollection.
never see any inside the playground. You see it sometimes out and around in different spots, but I don't ever remember seeing it inside it. But
Right.
Well, I would agree with you as well. And I will say there's a ton of pea stone there. So you also just don't know, is mulch gonna hold the water more? Because I think the pea stone disperses the water. So I don't know. I mean, is that something that we should consider having someone check out? Or I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to do with this piece of this deal.
I remember when we were doing the basketball court, this went back and forth on the drainage. And I think what ended up being the determinant was when they first started excavating that piece, they figured out that for example, where we put the basketball court, which is where the water used to pool, was the hard clay was packed so densely that water just couldn't absorb into it. And that's why water was pooling there. It wasn't necessarily a drainage issue, meaning we needed to have a drainage system put in. It was just that portion of land was so hard packed clay that the water wouldn't absorb into it. So I would imagine that where we've been using the playground piece, where that area it's been dug up to put the equipment in, it's had the stone on it, it's had traffic on it, that there's probably a little more, pliability to that land where maybe the water absorbs better over there. But to your point, Sand, I think until we see what's underneath that pea stone, which I don't know that anyone's ever seen, in the past probably 30 years,
Yeah.
until we see what that looks like, we may have to wait until that pea stone's removed and then kind of get a spot decision if they think there's going to be a problem. And that's another question for Joe. When the pea stone is removed and all the equipment's removed, what does the land need to, what does that piece of property need to look like in order for him to get started?
Yes, and you know what? I actually did ask him that question and he sent it to me in a different email, and I just don't know if I can get my hands on it. But that is a question we can ask too. Because I did ask him what kind of a base are we looking at? Because he said usually a DPW or your town will do the base and everything, but he did say if you need him to do it, he can arrange that.
would there be any use of that pea stone or some of that pea stone staying there for drainage? And putting, probably not the rubber over it, but putting mulch over the pea stone? I don't know anything about drainage, but if it's doing his job now,
Yeah, and like I said, I know that is a question in one of the 55 emails I have going back and forth with him, that I did ask him. But another question, and I think you're right, Dave, I think until we remove that, we have to have an idea as to, you know, what it looks like underneath there. But again, so, you know, we haven't had a problem with the current
Right.
playground. The only thing that was told to me at one time was, and it was by Travis, is he said the reason, he was saying to me, well, the reason that your playground is cracking is because the cement pieces are heaving, because frost is getting underneath there and they're heaving. So, and he said that's probably because there's water underneath there.
Well, that could also be that they didn't dig it quite deep enough when they set the footings.
Well, I was thinking that too. And 30 years ago, what people
Right.
were doing with a volunteer group versus having professionals do it might mean something completely different.
Right.
I can only imagine what that volunteer time was. I bet it was a lot of fun. I remember in my hometown, believe me, I'm really dating myself. But we put in I remember my parents going over and doing a volunteer playground back then when everything was rubberized tires and everything. That was probably, you know, in the 70s or something. But again, yeah, it was all volunteers. He did, so Joe does talk in here. I cannot find it, but he talked about whether we wanted to lift it up on timbers or whether we were just going to put it flat on the ground. And if so, we would need a base. And I cannot find that email. So, but we can ask him. That would be a good question. A good question to ask him.
I think really it's about understanding what the ground's got to look like underneath that rubberized material. The rest of it, I don't think is going to be as big of a deal as that rubberized material, because we don't want that to move.
No, and actually, he said they can. The people who bring the rubberized material in, they can do their own site work. So if we need that done, he was actually talking about the under the mulch that you do need pea stone on it.
Yeah, so maybe we can recycle our pea stone.
Well, I wondered that too, or even if we don't recycle it, well, the DPW can always keep it and use it at a different time.
So how thick is the mulch layer?
The mulch layer. Hold on. He doesn't, 12 inches deep.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's pretty substantial.
Yeah, that's a foot. So.
So we would need to excavate a good amount of the pea stone then,
Correct.
right? But you need pea stone underneath it though, as well,
Yeah,
for drainage.
I'm
Yeah.
quite sure that's what he said. I'm actually gonna look around and see if I can find that on my phone. You guys can continue to discuss things while I'm doing this. Yeah, so one of the, this isn't the exact question, but one of the questions I said is if you could rework the rubber path, moving the new entrance, that would be great. He said, let's see, he said, this is about 2,000 square feet. I can take elements off the path and that would reduce the rubber square footage. I would need to get some additional cost, but the ballpark on this is a prep work. The site prep work would be about $1,400 and about $3,000 for labor as well. But I am looking for the information regarding the site work for the whole playground.
Dave, is that picture, is that Dave, is that Bill Belichick's dog in the background?
That's his dog at his kitchen.
That's funny. I just realized what that picture was. That's Nike.
It's Nike. That's draft night.
Yeah, that's right.
That's funny. All right. So this was the question I had asked him, and maybe he can finalize it again, about the site work, like how much site work needs to be done. So he said, depending on the final elevation, if they want to keep the entrance heights as it is, or whether they want to build it up. I'm assuming we're going to keep it as it is.
I guess we won't know that until we remove what's there now to see, what that base looks like.
Okay. So he said they will want to excavate at least 12 inches down, and you can use the earth as a means to contain the surface. If they, I guess they're talking us, plan on building up and using timbers, then they don't need to excavate as far down. If they feel that they want some drainage under the wood fiber, then they can excavate more, say like 15 inches. Oh, shoot. What did I do? Sorry. Let's see, if they feel they want some drainage under the wood fiber, then they can excavate more, like 15 inches, and come in with some stones approximately 3 inches thick. Before we install the wood fiber, we would be putting down a layer of fabric so the stone won't mix with the mulch. If you are not using stone, then I wouldn't bother with putting down the fabric. We do it either way. It really depends on how well your area drains. If you feel you have good drainage, then you don't need stone. If you feel that water will pool in the playground, then you would want to put in stone and stone, and this will help with your drainage. Really, it's up to what you want to do.
So I mean, that might be an opportunity to reuse some of that pea stone if that stone works for the drainage piece. I mean, maybe since we already have the material, we can reuse it for that.
Yes, and and this is saying you only need 3 inches of stone.
Right.
So, and then they put the fabric over it, but it also sounds like you don't even need stone.
Right.
If you don't want to. So, yeah, so I guess once we remove that stone, we're gonna have to decide what we need to do. And, maybe we can call in the guy in town to take a look, but actually when I did talk to Joe, he was very good. He's like, oh, I'll come up and meet with your DPW and tell them, what we're looking at and what we're looking to have done. And he's willing to work with them.
All right.
So that was good.
12 inches is a lot of, that's a lot. That's going to get packed down over time with the kids, traffic on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably going to be kind of like the pea stone, where every year or 2 years or something, we're going to have to
refresh it,
bring in more mulch and spread it out.
Well, yeah. Well, at least the mulch isn't that expensive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and of course, I don't know how hard packed that is, but at the same time, if it's clay like underneath a basketball court, maybe it's not really going to go down. I mean, when we were bringing in pea stone before, really it was because the kids were kicking it out and kicking it to the sides and all of that. So, all right. So I guess these are all some good questions we can be asking him.
Sandra, what kind of warranty does all this equipment come with? Is there like a certain time where they're going to guarantee or cover it or anything, or is it? Do you know?
That's a good question. No, I do not know. I know the other vendors, I don't think talked much about a warranty, but that's a good question, Jay.
Stan, is he calling in at a particular time?
Quarter of. Um, okay, this is on the bottom of the quarter gave us, it says delivery can occur within 3 to 5 weeks after our receipt of an acceptance order. I wonder if that's actually delivery or if that's when they ship it out. Okay. Can we think of any other questions? Oh, so I'm sorry. So going back, so everyone likes this design as it is? I mean, do we,
Sure.
I mean.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, looks good to me.
Yep. I like it.
I do like his, I think he made a comment somewhere just to make sure the swings aren't real close to the entrance.
He did.
But I think that was the only thing that I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Perfect.
when we'd asked about, or I'd asked if we could switch it so it would sort of look like the current playground. So I did run the figures based on this 134.8 with the other figures that we did have, and the cost of the playground right now with his estimate of the equipment and installation, together with the other costs that he had given us, estimates for, like I said, the rubberized path, the mulch, the installation of the mulch. It comes to right around $169,000. So that does give us some wiggle room, which I think we needed anyways, because we don't want to overrun this. So that gives us almost $31,000 in wiggle room. So we're going to have to assume some site work's there's going to be some cost to some site work, obviously. And I was thinking if this all plays in well, we might really want to consider adding a new fence.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So I guess the biggest thing is, I keep thinking of this thing as a whole package, which it is, but really we can do things in stages. I mean, like, if we work with him just at first to get the equipment, and then he'll do the installation, we can have more of an idea of what our exact figures are. So we could possibly add these additional things in, including some benches, new sign.
More of that type of stuff is always good, especially if they have shade. I think that's also good.
And actually with that new design, how it's switched around, I think the bench with the shade cover that we put in a couple of years ago, I think that's going to be able to stay right there.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and we could maybe add a couple more over in that back corner.
Yep.
So, yeah, and we could probably make the opening of the fence kind of cooperate with where the swings are. But those swings are there right now. They don't go all the way to the edge. There's actually another piece of play equipment on the other side, the tire swing.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if this one's going to be bigger either. So, yeah. I think we can make it work. So even if, like I said, and I guess my other question is, does he coordinate everything? Like, does he coordinate having the site work done, that needs to be done for the rubberized path and all that? I know he did say that he does have a crew. It all depends kind of on what we want to do.
I mean, I think if he can coordinate it, that makes the most sense because he knows the timing that he needs. He knows the specs that he needs. If he coordinates it, it makes more sense than having one of us or all of us try to figure it out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, just a quick question. I don't know if we could answer this, but do you think the fence can actually be taken down and replaced after the playground's put up?
I'd have to ask our fence guy that.
Yeah. I mean, I would think it could be, but I guess we would have,
Yeah, and that's not entirely feasible to me as well.
that they could take it down afterwards.
Right.
Yeah. So even if that ended up being like, the last thing we do, depending on our, how our money runs, maybe we coordinate this, but I suppose we could send an email to Pat and ask him, and maybe even we can just get an estimate from him too.
Are they gonna be able to get whatever equipment they need in to put the playground in through whatever, openings we have right now?
We'll have to ask him that.
Because I mean, if we have to take fencing down in order to get in there or to change, to do the actual putting up of the playground, it might make more sense to do it
Mhm.
closer to the time we're doing the playground. Maybe not, right at the same time, but think about it as a together.
Yeah.
I can't remember how big that front.
It's a double opening. So they use it to get the dump trucks and everything in there with the DPW, because they had to go in there with the bulldozer. To,
Okay,
you
I
know,
think if
for
they
the
can get in there with the
Keystone.
bulldozer, we should be fine.
Yeah, or a Bobcat or whatever it was that they were using.
Yeah, I think it was a Bobcat.
Yeah. Oh, so anyone have any other questions? I see Joe has popped up.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Eric, you're all set? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Hi, Joe. Oh, there he is.
There we go.
Hi,
How's everybody
Joe.
doing? I joined and it was a webinar and I'm like, uh-oh, what the heck did I push? Thank you for letting me in.
Oh, yes. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Good, good. How about yourself?
Good. Good. Thank you.
All right.
So,
Welcome, Joe.
go ahead.
Saying hi. No, I was just saying welcome him to the meeting. That's all.
Thanks for
Glad you
letting
could
me
be
come
here.
in.
Yeah. So, Joe, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and about your company you're representing?
Sure, yeah, that'd be fine. So again, my name's Joe McMahon, and I represent a company called Untitled Parks and Playgrounds, and we are located in Blackstone on Main Street. That's where our office is. We did have our offices in Uxbridge, but we moved about 3 years ago. We are a design and build playground company. So we have 4 salespeople. We have 3 in-house staff, one of them being a designer. And then we have right now 9 installers that are our employees. We do not sub those people out. They're our employees. So what they do is they do playgrounds 9.5 months out of the year. So it gives us a little bit more control, a little bit more ability to control an installation and do a job from start to finish type of thing. I've been doing this for 16 years. The owner, Mike Brody, has been doing it for about 30 years. We started out basically as a company that used to sand and seal, remember those old wooden structures that used to be around 30 years ago? That's how we started our company. And then since then right now we represent a company called Playworld out of Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. We also represent a second playground company called Berliner, and they're out of Germany. And we represent shade companies, rubber companies, and some smaller playground companies like Earthscapes, ID Sculpture, Playtime. So we hope we can be like an all-in type of Home Depot type of playground company where you can get everything you need from us. So that's kind of us in a nutshell.
Great.
So, so Joe, we're talking a little bit, we met a little bit ahead of time,
Yep.
for the meeting. So we just kind of hashed out a few things. So first of all, so to let you know, and you've probably worked with this with many small towns in Massachusetts, we are a volunteer board of working parents.
Yep.
So, so I know you've been very, very good at supporting all my crazy questions, because like, we don't have an engineer in town that we can go to.
Right.
We don't have anyone we can go to. I mean, we, you know, so.
We figure it out as we go.
Yeah,
And, you know, honestly, sometimes that's the best way. I mean, we do jobs in some of these big cities and the paperwork we got to fill out. And it's like, we could have just met on site and said, this is what you need to do. And we would have solved about 4 hours worth of work for everybody. But they just, like, especially like the city of Boston, places, they just make it so complicated. So I'm fine with working with small towns, trust me.
well, actually, we didn't even have to pull a permit. So I checked that out too. I'm like, do we need a permit for this? And someone's like, let me look it up. No, you don't need a permit. So I'm
No,
like,
you,
"Okay."
you technically don't.
Yeah. But it is helpful because you were on the state bid list. So Ryan, the
Yep.
town administrator, I don't know if you recall meeting him.
Yep.
But he said, you know, you can pull anyone off the state bid list. So we have been in contact with 3 vendors.
Yep.
And as I said in my email, you were the only one that no one else got to meet because of COVID.
Okay.
Because everything did definitely come to a standstill
Sure.
about a year ago. So we were talking a little bit about time frame. So like when you're looking at your schedule this year, if we said in 2 weeks, we'd like to sign this contract with you, what would we be looking at to have the site all cleared out and ready to go?
So, yeah, so depending on how, are you gonna excavate or are you gonna build up? Did you find,
We're go-
you figure that out?
I think we're gonna excavate.
Okay, so so basically we need the footings out, the playground out, and then if you want to excavate, that's probably the best situation. That way it's level with the entrance you're gonna try to do, and there's no step up or anything. So like right now where Playworld runs it a little bit different than some of the other companies where they order it. We order it in a, you know, whatever color you guys want, and they build it as it comes in. We don't build like 1 million posts and have them sitting there. They build as it goes. But so you think our lead time would be longer, but it's actually, they found out that by doing it this way, they're not producing things that they don't need. We're quick. Right now, if we place an order today, it's shipping out like on March, like 22nd or 23rd. So we have about an 18 business day lead time right now. As we get deeper into the summer, it could go as much as 20 to 22 days, but that's about it. So once everything's ordered, we would meet the truck on site and we would start building. So it's
Oh,
pretty simple. Now, if you tell me, you know, you want a certain date and we have 3 other jobs we're doing that week, I might tell you, look, we got to push this off, or, you know, we generally run 2 to 3 crews with our people, depending on what we got going on. But, you know, we like to make sure that we can have enough staff there to make it work.
Okay. Well, for us, it's going to depend on a lot of coordination on our end to get everything, you know, the demo done and get it all taken care of. So we just didn't know. So we weren't sure, like, where does this get delivered? Do we hold it here at someplace in our town, or you know?
So we'd back that in. So if you told us the demo is going to be done May 1st,
Mhm.
we would, and you said, look, we can start May 2nd, then we would back the order in and tell them we want it delivered on May 2nd.
Okay.
And from Playworld, we use a dedicated truck. We don't do like roadway or something. So it picks up the stuff at Playworld and comes to us. Now, most of the time, it's on time and it's on the same day. but trucking has been crazy like the last year.
Mhm.
So like last year we had a couple issues where like they told us, you know, it's supposed to unload it at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, and they said, oh, the truck broke down. It didn't break down. They just don't have a driver. So it came on Tuesday. But so that dedicated truck does two things. It makes sure that we don't lose things because it doesn't go from terminal to terminal. And generally we can schedule the right time to be there. So we would meet the guys, the truck driver, unload it, and start working that day. That's generally how we like to do it.
Okay,
And if you said, look, they don't know when they're going to be done because they don't know what they're going to run into, then we could make arrangements to get it delivered. And then if it had to sit there for a couple days, generally it's not an issue. People don't generally steal it, but so we'd lay it down somewhere adjacent to the playground.
okay.
Or we could do a storage unit, but that gets expensive. So
No, that's fine. That's fine. What kind of warranty does the play equipment have?
so it depends on what it is. The things that generally break are like slides. So plastics, there's a 15-year non-prorated guarantee. So if you called us up on year 14 on the 9th month of that Playworld will replace that and ship it to you for free. And since there are guys, we don't generally charge for a warranty issue. Now, if someone came in and hit it with a sledgehammer and busted up everything, then Playworld's not going to cover that cost.
Mhm.
But if it's like a crack or something like that, then they're going to cover it. All the steel and things like that is I can send you the warranty so you can look through everything.
Oh, that'd be great.
They have like lifetime, whatever a lifetime means, like on posts. I mean,
Mhm.
nothing ever really happens to posts unless some water gets in it and expands, and then again, we'll come out and replace it. So,
Okay,
but I can send you the warranty.
okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yep.
So the site work, so for the rubberized base, that must have real specific site work that needs to be done for that.
So what we like to use is a dense grade process stone, like what you'd use under like asphalt or roadways.
Mm-hmm.
And we install it like 2 or 3 inches and then compact it every 2 or 3 inches. Because ideally what you want is you want a firm base. So in 2 years, it's not going to dip on you and you're going to have a dip under the rubber. So you want to use a very dense, sub base if you can.
Now, do you have someone who can do the site work if our town DPW is like, we're not gonna be able to do that?
The site work for the rubber,
Or for the whole playground?
we can do everything if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know they're gonna demo everything. They're gonna haul out all the pea stone and all like that. Just like, but getting that base the way it should be.
Oh,
for
no,
the-
we would do that. Yeah, we do it all the time.
Okay, could you provide us with an estimate for that?
Yeah, well, so really, again, it depends on what kind of path you want to use and like what do you want to run it to. So like on that preliminary design that I sent, it's the more items you hit, the better, the more inclusive it is what it comes down to. So if
Mhm.
you can make it more accessible, the better off you're going to be. Now, if you've spoken to a couple other playground vendors, I don't know if they've told you about the Massachusetts Architectural Board and their supposed regulations in terms of what they want. So Massachusetts is the only country in the state right now that says wood mulch isn't an accessible surface.
Mhm.
So we've asked for clarification on that because their guidelines are really vague in terms of what you need to put. Essentially, it's a rubber path. That's really the only thing that really works
Mhm.
is a rubber path. So you want to do it to the transfer station. So that's the stairs.
Yep.
And again, you want to try to hit like if you're gonna have a handicap swing in there, you want to hit that. And, the more things you can hit, the better off you're gonna, the more accessible it is.
Yes.
I'll tell you right now, we build a lot of playgrounds and we explain this to people and like, yeah, I'm not gonna do rubber right now. I'm just gonna go with mulch. So that really is your call in terms of how much you want to do. And, you could make it simple and do like a path to the accessible to the transfer station and that's it. Or we can make it, large. So, it really depends on the final design. Like that design I sent you
Mm-hmm.
was, preliminary. Like here's some ideas, that type of thing. We generally expect changes and revisions and things like that to it, based on the feedback that you're getting from other people or what you guys have, want to see in it. So that was kind of like a first draft, but if it came out great, then that works too. But so it's up to you. But yeah, I can give you some numbers on that. Sure.
So I don't want to keep speaking for the group. So guys, chime in. But I can tell you, Joe, we have 3 vendors.
Yep.
You kind of nailed it on the head. We told
Okay.
everyone the same thing. Okay. So I am just going to tell you that for now. So we have discussed this. We do want some sort of rubberized path.
Yep. Okay.
So we don't want to go all mulch. We want to, do the path now and kind of what you have here. On your last design, looks good. It's the whole thing's not rubberized, but a good portion of it is. So at least people can access different playthings along there and can get to the transfer station as well.
What you're looking at right now, is that the Rainbow's End playground that you can see all the equipment in the green rubberized? Or are you looking at a different one? I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right.
I'm actually looking at the black and white design on the last page that I sent you. Yeah, I just think
Okay.
it's easier to look down and the circular area was the rubberized path.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was looking at the same thing. That's all.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Yep.
Sorry,
So when
I'm
you-
on
when
my
you
computer here, so I'm trying to pull that one up.
When you say making paths to each one of to make it more accessible, are you talking about making the rubberized area, the I don't know, the radius or whatever you want to say of it, bigger? Or are you talking about smaller paths getting to each piece of the equipment?
Well, so the problem is when you do like different paths. So, yeah, I mean, on this one, it would be so spread out, you'd end up using
Too much stuff.
too much rubber.
So it makes more sense to have a bigger kind of central area with the stuff kind of around it.
Well, so what you have to do when you're working with mulch is you have to what you call roll it down. So you have the path and then it rolls down like this. So it rolls down. So then the mulch comes over it and meets it. So like if you don't put new mulch in there in like a year, and it's not going to be like a sharp edge, it's going to be more of a roll down. So when you see say we have 1,600 square feet of rubber, and then we have this roll down, you have to incorporate that because it's about a foot roll down. So
Okay.
if you do too many of them, you end up spending a ton of rubber that's covered in mulch. So
Gotcha.
I can do this a lot better. So I do CAD, but I do CAD like just enough to be dangerous with. So what I do is I'll do something like this and I'll send it to the designer and say, okay, I got you 80% of there, fix it and make it look good. This one, we didn't fix it and make it look good because we needed it like right away. So, and I really want to cut down on the rubber if I can, but I did use a fair amount. There's like a spinner in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you really want to make sure that the perimeter of that spinner is all in rubber. You don't want them to go from rubber to mulch.
Mhm.
And you really want to go out about 5 feet. And you want to surround the whole thing. That way, first of all, it's accessible. Second of all, it's not going to put a big wear mark in when you have mulch. When you see those in mulch, there's a big, gigantic divot in the mulch because
Oh,
the
yeah.
kids
Yeah.
push
It's
it.
running around in circles, yeah.
So that's why I kind of, there's a lot there. I can make that better. And again, if I bring the swings down a bit, but I didn't want to bring them down too far because I don't know where that gate is. I can reduce it a bit. But again, you don't want people entering in like right where swings are because they don't pay attention and they end up getting kicked in the head. So we try to keep the swings away if we can.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we haven't even put that gate in, so it's not there. So we can put it wherever we want. And we're just gonna move it to that side, probably closer to that front corner. So I think there'll be plenty of room to be away from the swings. Basically because there is a handicap entrance path right there where the basketball court is. So we're just gonna use that same entrance. We just need the entrance into the playground.
That makes sense. And where is the handicap parking on? I know you pull in and it's like there's tons of parking.
Yeah, so the entrance, the handicap parking is about midway, I would say, to the playground, maybe a little closer to that left side. But the basketball entrance is right there on the right side. So we were just going to make it all that one same area.
Okay.
And we can always move the handicap, well, we can move the handicap parking. That's
The
not
sign, yeah.
Actually, it makes more sense to do it.
Yeah, actually, I was just
Think about
thinking
it.
that we should probably just, if we're gonna do it this way, we should just move the handicap spots to right in front of there.
Right in front of there, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I can make that better. And then I can figure out, trying to reduce the amount of rubber we're using.
So is it the black line that's going around that's the rubber? Or is it all the purple?
Again, that's me not being very good at making paths. So
Okay.
No, that's fine. And like I said, I mean, I don't have a problem with the size that it is. I'm looking at more just making it more cohesive, maybe like at the corner and, what have you. One of the things that has been brought to our attention that is if kids are running from mulch to the rubberized path, a lot of your mulch is going to get all over that rubberized path.
yeah.
That's why this looks like it's more like a rubberized play area, not just like a path. It looks like it's good size.
Yeah, it's 1,800 square feet. That's pretty big.
Yeah, so I think that looks good. Like if people, are entering that way, that they enter right onto that path and that whole area is rubberized and the swings would be there and the play equipment for that would be there. I know we have a couple other little things there.
Yeah.
No, I think that's fine.
Okay. All right, well, I'll make it look better.
Okay.
Really,
I'm
the
looking
only
at it
thing
like that looks awful, but
Really, the only thing you can't get to is that star-looking thing on the far end.
yeah,
Well,
that's a rope net climber.
Right.
We can make a path to that.
No, I'm not saying we need to. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to get in my brain where it is, so you can get onto the other stuff from there. But that's the only thing.
transfer.
You're right. But the rope climbing, I guess you could transfer to it. It kind of looks right.
Well, I mean,
Again,
honestly,
it depends on
like
who's
if
trying
a
to do it.
child's in a wheelchair, those transfer stations don't really work all that great. If they have no like upper body strength, then
Yeah, it depends on the person.
It depends on the child. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what you need to put that, or you need to put ramps. And ramps get expensive and take up tons of room. So we do them, but it's what is required is that transfer point.
Yeah.
So can kids with the wheelchairs get onto that transfer point? I mean, I don't even know.
Oh,
what
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
oh,
they can get onto the transfer point, but again,
Okay.
if a child's severely disabled,
Mhm.
they're probably not going to be able to bump themselves up to those stairs. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be, that a child can transfer. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be set at between like 17 and like 20 inches, so a child can get out of the chair and get onto that and bump himself up the stairs.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So if a child wanted to try to do it, they have the opportunity to.
the opportunity's there, and it meets, 90% of the playgrounds we have are like that. But by making some of the ground-based elements accessible, like that spinner is designed for children like that have no support, so they can get onto that, transfer onto that, and then be playing with typically developing children. And that really is your goal, is to have all types of children playing together.
Yep,
So,
great.
so we've put like 3 or 4 elements that they can get at that are ground-based that make it even better, that are all accessible on a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So including like the music and things like that.
Yeah. And the teeter-totter, it looks like.
So I did like, so 2 seats of that teeter-totter are accessible.
Yep.
And that's not like a teeter-totter that I grew up with, where you jump off and you end up, that's more of a spring one. So
Oh, yeah.
it's much, nobody will.
It's
die.
more of a rocker.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Yep. It's a great piece. We've had it for a long time, and it's really popular. It's good for the younger kids.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
It's not a 2x12 with a pipe handle on a.
No.
All right, let's see. Do we have any other questions? Oh, I think you kind of already answered this. So if we have you do the site work, you'd be just coordinating all that as well, right?
Yeah, my guys would do it. Yep.
Okay, so you can come up at a price for us for the site work.
Yeah, that's not a problem. It's that's easy. It's just a matter of finding somebody local who does dense grade. That, is there any sand and gravel places around that you guys know?
I think there's one in
Yeah.
Rutland.
Okay.
isn't there?
Yeah, we usually use like McIntyre or out of
Rutland Gardner.
Holliston, but if we can get them closer, it's obviously cheaper.
Yep, no, that's fine. There's a couple of them around.
Yep, not a problem. We can look into that. Actually, we did the DCR Dunn's Pond a couple of years ago. We probably have that.
Yep.
So that's not a problem. But if you really want to look at like what we did, if you want to change anything, or if you see anything that you hate,
Mm-hmm.
let us know. Like, did you want anything like customization, like any panels that were like saying Rainbow's End, or like we could probably do a climber that would be a rainbow. I mean, we could do like crazy stuff like that.
I don't know. We didn't name the playground.
Okay.
Yeah. No, the only thing we were going to talk about after we talked to you is like changing off the sign and getting a new sign in there and, things like that.
Okay.
But we can talk about, if we want to add anything additional to it. Obviously, we have a set budget, and so we kind of want to, we want to make sure we leave plenty of wiggle room, because you always hear things running over, and
Well,
I don't want that to happen.
well, if you agree on a price from us and we sign a contract, then if something goes wrong, it's on us.
Okay. Yeah. No, I understand that. So.
Unless we hit like oil or something there, and we had, something crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if something goes drastically wrong, then, the only thing we'd want to ask is like, if the area is like clear of ledge and things like that, that you know of. It's hard to tell, but.
Yeah, but I think it is because all those soccer fields and everything, and actually we just had that basketball court put in 2014, and there was no problem there. There's just like a lot of clay. There's a lot of clay material.
That's fine.
Yeah, so that was recently done. That's right beside the playground. So
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's generally the only thing that really can be a huge issue is when we hit like gigantic boulders underneath
Yeah, I
the
don't think
area.
that's
We're
gonna,
like, okay, what do we do now?
yeah. Well, I'll tell you, over the years, how many, yards of pea stone have we hauled into that thing? We've never ran into a problem,
Yeah.
but probably 50 yards over the last 20 years.
Right.
We're always
Oh, yeah.
hauling it in every couple of years, so.
Oh, yeah. I don't see pea stone too often, I must admit.
Well, that playground was built in the 90s,
Yeah.
so, and nothing but pea stone has been in there since.
Well, it's served, I mean, it's lasted almost 30 years.
Right.
It has, but then finally pieces started breaking and.
Yep. It
Yeah,
happens. Yeah.
yeah, and the non-slid material no longer doesn't help you. You slide all
Right.
over the place, yeah.
Right.
Things are rusting out, so it's really time for a new one.
Good.
So,
Yeah.
Joe, you mentioned, I read in one of the emails that you can do a 3D design of this thing. Maybe that at some point that would be a good idea to show kind of everybody
that's
so we know exactly what we're looking at.
Well, the 3D is a color, but I can do that's what we call 3D rendering. I can do a walkthrough, like a virtual
Yeah. Yep.
flyover type of thing,
That'd be
great.
cool.
yeah,
and I can
I
send
think
you.
so. Everybody just understands what we're getting into. Just so, I mean, it's one thing to look at a drawing, like
Yep.
I understand what it is, but I don't think not everybody's going to understand that. So it would be good to
No.
see exactly what we're. Yeah.
Yep, I can do a fly through. It takes her, it takes her some time to get them done, but I should be able to get something to you, hopefully by the end of the week or so, beginning of next. And it basically will walk you through everything, so you really get a much better feel for what you're looking at. I think that would probably help a lot, and you could send it to other people. We could give you like a WeTransfer link, and you can just send it to whoever you want, or post it if you
Right.
wanted to.
Right.
So yeah,
that would
I'll
be
get
great.
that done for you.
yeah, that'd be great,
Great.
thank you.
Yeah, and I can also send you the bill of materials, which will show you what it is. If if you're looking at a certain climber and you want to change a climber, you don't. Sometimes I get like people like they overanalyze like everything, and some people are like kind of, you guys, well, that looks great, let's go with it. So
Yeah,
but I'll give you a bill of materials if you want to say, hey, look, let's switch out this climber, or someone wanted this type of climber or something. I'll send that over today.
Right. That'd be good.
Yeah. Okay.
all right.
I think the only other thing I would ask, a question I would ask is about the fence. Is we're undecided whether we're gonna change that fence out or not.
Okay.
For the excavating, if you're gonna have to dig down 12 inches and put 12 inches of mulch in, do you think that fence should come out, or is that gonna be okay to leave in while you do that?
So what we'd do is, it's a chain link, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we'd do is just take off a couple sections, pull the
Yeah.
top bar, roll it, and then roll the fabric back and enter that way.
Oh,
Okay.
And then that's what well, if they're going to do the excavation, that's what they should do.
Yeah, well, there's a double
Yeah.
entrance for machinery to get in there in the
Oh,
front.
there is. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's even better.
Yeah.
I mean, as long
I
as
just
it's
should
big
make sure it
enough.
wasn't going to be
Yeah.
in the way. Yeah.
No,
And, those footings are going to be down 36 inches or something.
yeah.
And if we're taking a foot of it out of there, is it going to create a problem? It's just, I guess, is what I'm thinking.
It shouldn't, but they may want to like hand dig a little bit near the edge. Like if they're using an excavator, like excavate like 6 inches short or whatever, and then just
Right.
hand dig a little bit so they don't hit like a footing and have the whole thing topple over on them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But generally, it can be done without having to change the fence over.
Right. Okay. Great.
So Okay,
So if we can beat you up at the end of this for enough money, we're gonna get a fence out of the deal. If not, we gotta have an old fence, so.
that's fine. So what I'll do is I'll send you the bill of materials. We'll do a flyover. I'll get you some additional costs on the site prep. Rubber as it's shown. I'm gonna tweak that path. And I think that was it. The mulch. You want us to do the mulch, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
where it's not rubberized.
And you wanted to stay away from doing any volunteer type of stuff.
Yes.
Okay, just
I
throwing
mean-
it out to you.
Well, we have COVID, so there's a lot of restrictions and
It's harder. We'd do 15 to 20 playgrounds, like community build playgrounds a year. And like last year, I think we did like 3,
yeah.
and we did them in shifts. It was much more difficult to do.
Sure.
It can be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. I do think, Joe, that you gave us an updated price list on all the equipment. Is that what you're talking about sending?
No, I'll get everything together and put it into one quote. Yeah.
Oh, I got
Yep.
you. I got
Yep.
you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I sent you a formal quote, but that was just for the playground and
Hmm.
installation and shipping, I think it was, and with the discounts, and I'll put everything in there.
Okay, that sounds
Once I
great.
tweak this rubber path a bit.
Great.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyone have any other questions they want to ask before we?
I don't.
Okay.
Eric, do you have anything?
Also,
He's
Nope.
still there.
No,
Well, thanks, guys. It was great to meet all of you. And if anybody has any questions or anything, just feel free to email or call, and hopefully I get back to you quickly.
All right, we appreciate that, Joe. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
for
Joe.
joining the meeting.
All right, great.
Bye,
Have a
nice
good
meeting
night.
thanks, Joe.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Well, so that was Joe. He has a lot of good information.
Yep.
So, so I guess we need to just take a formal vote unless there's anything else. I know some of you, and especially Eric, he hasn't even seen any of the other plans. I don't think I sent them to him. But we did have the plan from Cindy Mack with Miracle. And we did have the plan from Andy Berger from Landscape Structures. And then we have the plan from Joe. So, and I know Dave and I met with Cindy, and then only Ryan and I met with Andy. But I don't know, I guess we should, and I will tell you, all 3 of them are on the state bid list, so we can pick anyone from the 3. So I guess we can talk about who we think.
Price wise, are they all close to each other? I don't have the prices on the other 2 handy. I should have pulled them.
They are close. Uniplay was the least expensive out of all of them. And I know with Andy, they do all their own site work and stuff as well. Let me see. I do not have. Hold on. I got the wrong folder. Sorry. All right. All right. So Miracle, Miracle was 165, but that did not include any surface. She didn't include a rubberized
That's
path.
right.
Yeah. And she did include all doing fiber, in the fiber chips. And she was at 165 without any rubber.
Yep.
Like that, we can sign a contract for a total amount and we're pretty set at that point,
Right.
as long as we don't run into anything major. I don't know if the other companies have said that as well, but that feels like a really nice piece that once we're locked in with them, we
When
should.
we met with, when Santa and I met with that Miracle, the rep that we met with was, I felt like she kept trying to push on us what she thought was best. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, where I didn't meet with the guy Andy there, but just talking to Joe, he's listening to what we've asked him to do, and he seems to be more flexible than she seemed like she was. So, I mean, I'm leaning more towards this guy only because he seems to be listening to us and kind of following our lead as opposed to trying to take the lead. And I felt like she was trying to take the lead with us. And like I said, I can't speak to the second vendor. I wasn't part of that one.
Yeah, I do agree, because I know the other thing is I found her design on our playground was very young child
Yes.
oriented,
Yes.
where we kind of specifically said we wanted more of an older child playground. I mean, with some young child components,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was the only thing about her design. And again, she kept gearing us towards, I think, her vision and not ours. And with Andy, I have his right here. Unfortunately, I can't read it very well. I think I got it in an email. That's why. Andy as well. They're all pretty close. His looks like it's closer to 172. And again, that's not with any poured rubber. I can say I know a lot of them kind of leaned away from the rubber, and I think it's because they're saying you don't really have to do it right now. And where I think Joe was a little more upfront, like, yeah, you can probably get away with it, but if someone comes to you and says you got to do it, then you're going to have to do it. But
Right.
yeah, I have Andy's right here, and that was right close to 170.
Okay. So they're all about the same.
They're all about the same. Yeah, he has no rubber path at all. It's all mulch.
So I mean, I would say unless his all-in price with all the other things we asked for today, unless that prices him out, I'm leaning more towards Joe and Ultiplay.
Well, I will give you another opinion. I didn't care for Andy. I mean, and
Okay.
I know maybe that shouldn't have a lot to do with it, but no, he wasn't someone I would have wanted to work with.
Okay.
I think he maybe because I'm a woman, but he was very I don't think he listened to me. I think he just wanted to tell me everything, give his spiel. I don't feel he even gave us a lot of attention, because what he sent us as a design was a design that someone had done for another playground like 3 years ago. And I was like, well, that's not what
couldn't
we
even
were
take the
asking.
effort. Right.
Yeah, I felt that way.
Yep.
So
That's important. I mean, it rubs you the wrong way. I mean, that's just in conversation. I mean, we're looking to have somebody put in a $200,000, thing. I mean, we want somebody we can work with.
Right.
We don't want somebody that, it's pulling teeth to get what you want.
yeah, and my whole feeling is you're supposed to be selling me your stuff.
Right.
I mean, you're supposed to be like, we're wonderful and we want to work with you because we're spending a lot of money for a small town, on something that we want to have for a long time. And I felt he was visiting me along his way to another project. So, I mean, which is fine. I'm not saying he wasn't nice, but I
also think the person we just talked to, I mean, I'm sure they all have warranties and guarantees and whatever, but the fact that he said, we're gonna come and we're gonna fix it, I think says a lot.
Yep.
It's not just about the product, but it's also about him standing behind it. Which I think is important. Even if it was, 15, years in a day, they may not pay for the slide, but they may come down and put it in for free, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right.
That just feels like somebody that you want to work with and that wants to work with you,
Yeah.
and wants you to give your word of mouth to the next person. And I mean, I haven't really looked at the setup at Dunn's. I've seen it. I've walked by it. My kids are older, so we haven't used it. But the fact that there's another one that's not far from us is great to hear as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess we could even ask them what do they have any problems with what they have there?
Is this over in Gardner
Yep.
That's what he
At the
said.
park?
Yeah.
at the pond?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I knew they had a playground over there.
It's like it's on the path there, just behind the beach.
Oh, okay.
It kind of wraps right around in there. I haven't really looked at it enough to say it's great or it's bad. I mean, it's probably good because I haven't thought of it as not being good. But it's nice to hear that there's another one around.
Mm-hmm. And over at where is that new skate park over in Gardner, Jay? I know you've talked about it, but
It's over by across the street from the old Simplex building. I think that's Jackson Park over
Okay.
there. Where Holy Spirit,
yeah.
or that school, was that Sacred Heart School, is kind of over near there. Used to be Sacred Heart. That's something different now, I think. I think it's Holy Spirit. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's over kind of behind the Haywood buildings,
Mhm.
in that area.
Oh.
They didn't do that, did they?
No.
Did-
But I'm just thinking I'm gonna take a playground
Future
tour.
projects.
So I'll
Yeah.
go over there and I'll check them both out. So.
Nice.
All right, so why don't we go around and does someone want to make a motion as to who we'd like to hire or contract with as a vendor?
Is the person we
I'll
just
make a motion that.
go ahead?
Go ahead, Brian.
I was
No,
going
you
to
go
ask
ahead,
if the
Brian.
person that we just did was the Ultiplay,
Yep.
right? So I'd make a motion to use Ultiplay for new playground. I guess as long as their bid comes in within our budget.
I'd second that.
Okay, all in favor and roll call with your name, with your decision, please.
Dave is an I.
Brian is an
Jay's
aye.
and I.
Sanders,
Eric,
aye.
I don't think Eric's still here.
Oh, he isn't?
Yeah,
Doesn't look like it.
looks like
No.
you got, yeah.
Oh. Okay, so he
I
left?
think he thought we were saying goodbye to, when we said goodbye to Joe, I think he thought that it was over. Maybe, I
Oh,
don't know.
that's kind of funny.
He-
But it still says, still says his numbers up here.
I don't know.
Oh, he's not on
Oh,
our
yeah.
screen. Oh, there he is.
Oh,
Oh,
there
there
wasn't
he
a
is.
panelist. There you go.
Is he there?
He's back.
Eric, are
now.
you still there?
You're on mute if you are.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, can you guys hear me? Yeah, sorry, I got disconnected and then I called back in, so.
Oh, sorry. I hope
Yeah,
you heard
so
a lot of
I-
our conversation.
Yeah, I was listening to the whole thing. I just had, right when I tried talking, I realized I was still muted. But yeah, I'm in favor for using Ultiplay as well.
Okay. All right. So what we'll do is he's gonna send us a contract, he said, within a week that is inclusive of everything. And we will, well, I guess we'll have to meet again to review it, but do we want to say now that as long as it's under a particular price, I can send it to everyone unless unless anyone brings any problems that they see with it, then we'll just pass it on to the Board of Selectmen.
Yep, that makes sense.
Sounds
All
good.
right. Good. And the other thing that sounds kind of nice is I like the way the truck shows up. Like the truck shows up and they show up and do it.
Yeah, they're here to receive it and then they start. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no storage and handling on our part sounds ideal.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's good. That's successful. I think, you know, I'm very hopeful we can have this up and running maybe by the end of June.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I
would-
think we got to get that from him, and then we have to, so can you guys think of anything we should be trying to control with, you know, or not control, but get rolling with like DPW? I mean, obviously a lot's going to depend on the weather and when we can get things done, but even I don't think it's going to take DPW more than a couple days to demolish that playground.
It shouldn't. I guess we should probably find out if, you know, obviously in the winter, they're always kind of on, you know, kind of on call for snow, but you know, if we're targeting kind of end of April, beginning of May for demolition, is there any reason, is there anything that happens with the DPW that would be a bad time frame?
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
you know, I mean, I know, I'm
I
sure
think
they're
the spring is a
planning
really
on-
busy time for them.
It is a busy time
Yeah,
frame.
I think so, with all the cleanup, you know, cleaning up the roads and all that stuff, you know, the sand and whatnot. And I think they're generally pretty busy in the spring. We should try to make sure it's on his radar, you know,
Right,
soon.
right.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking is if he has other things that come up in the time frame that we're looking at, we need to be able to say, well, okay, we need you to do this, you know, on, you know, during these days, or, you know, whatever.
Mhm. Okay.
I wonder if we should be checking with Ultiplay too to find out what they have open right now. See whether or not we can back ourselves into a certain date, you know, with them and him, you know. So if he says, you know, we're busy till probably May, you know, okay, well, can we get this installed May 15th? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know how many, you know, projects Ultiplay has, you know, kind of already lined up for the spring, or if we're, you know, maybe we're one of the first, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that would be important to know, just so we know how much we have to push on our end to make sure that we're getting this done quickly.
Mhm.
And the other question I have, and I don't know the answer to this, is just informing the public about, you know, the playground coming down and the new one going up, and just making sure it's not, you know, people aren't showing up and going, oh crap, the playground just got demolished. You know,
Yeah.
or seeing their beloved playground, you know, just get smushed.
Mhm.
You know, so
I'm sure that, you know, once we get a date down, we can, between the town social media and the town website, we can probably put a banner on the website, plus use the social media to say, you know, from this time to this time, you know, the new playground will be installed.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure we can. So I think a lot will be, you know, finalizing things. And I'll be honest, even though we're saying, you know, May 1st, is nothing that says maybe DPW couldn't demolish the playground at the end of March. I mean, they've got the equipment to move everything.
I mean, they may be able to take down the actual stuff, you know, when they have time, you know, and then, you know, the more of the, you know, digging stuff out is once it
When, yeah.
unfreezes. I don't know.
But at the same time, do we really want to demolish the playground, then have it sit vacant for weeks
Right.
waiting for a new playground? So I think you're right.
Probably not.
We probably want to try to coordinate that as much as
Right.
possible. But I think the bottom line is DPW, you know, we're gonna have to, they already know about it because we've talked to them about it. And with our meeting with the Board of Selectmen in February, we talked to them about it. So it is on their radar, and I think we're just gonna do our best to coordinate a time frame, and they're just gonna have to do it, you know, when the time comes. So, all right, well, that was a good productive meeting. Makes me very happy. Not that they are all happy, but I'm excited about this project. Absolutely.
Yes. Right.
I don't know what
Yeah.
else is on our agenda. You know, on the agenda, the next thing was talking about opening the parks with COVID, but I think I need to find out more about what the state regs are going to be at this time. We normally open the parks by April 15th. So I will check with the Board of Health to see if they have more information in regards to, you know, the restrictions, COVID restrictions. I know so much is opening up. March 22nd is like a big day. But I
Our
do
big
know that
question is porta potties, right? That's one of probably our biggest question, right?
that's the biggest question. And the other thing is, you know, like last year, yeah, they did have soccer, but like only one parent could be attending, and everyone had to wear masks. And I mean, not that that's necessarily our rules, but it's probably our role to let soccer know what the rules are going to be, you know. So, and right now I don't know what those rules are. So I suppose I need to get a hold of the Board of Health and see if they heard anything more. Again, a lot could change in 6 weeks. So, but yeah. So we don't have to discuss that.
I would hope
tonight.
our rules, I would hope our role in that would only be kind of like a, you know, a number of people at the park type thing. Like, you know, if there's a restriction to 100 people at an event, then we should, whoever's having a thing should keep it to 100 people. I don't care who's there.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, like it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, let them figure out how they want to handle that. But we should just have a higher level, right? That's what you were saying.
Yeah, that we should know the rules and just pass it on to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know the rules because I'm still looking to see things. I've only seen what's coming up on, you know, through the month of March. So, yeah. So actually, because the other thing is I still have all the Easter eggs for last Easter's annual egg hunt because that all got canceled. So at least I don't have to buy Easter eggs this year, but that's another thing too, I guess I need to find out is can we actually hold the egg hunt too? Because that's always the weekend before Easter, which would be the 28th, 27th and 28th. So, yeah. So I'll reach out to the Girl Scouts on that too, because we always coordinate, but I'll go and find out the rules and see what we can do with that. Otherwise, I still have 2,000 eggs sitting in my basement.
Wow, that's a lot of eggs.
That's a lot of eggs. They're all boxed up though. I never opened them. So that's good. All right. Can we think of anything else before we adjourn? Anyone want to bring anything else up?
Have anything?
So do you think we should meet again like in 2 weeks, which would be our actual normal meeting time schedule? If we have everything by Joe by then?
Yep.
I think so.
I think we should put it on the calendar. Yeah.
Okay. 7 o'clock still works for everyone?
Yeah, and we're thinking the 15th.
Yeah, and that is the day after daylight savings time. Yay.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
I know. March 15th at 7 o'clock. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we're gonna have to still do, well, I guess we're gonna have to still do Zoom, but I wonder when they're gonna lift all that.
Who knows?
Meeting of 5 people, I mean, indoors, I think that's all being lifted on the 22nd, right? You can have more than up to 10 people.
I think as long as you can stay 6 feet apart.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
With that.
No. So, all right, well, if no one else has anything, someone can motion to adjourn and we will adjourn.
A motion to adjourn.
Second it.
Second.
All right, so we're adjourning at 8:39.